is only war.
What is up, gents? 40k Dirtbags here. We're doing a secondary video for you guys today. We're going to go over all the secondaries for Pariah Nexus. This is a little bit dated. It came out about, I would say, 3-4 weeks ago. We've had a couple RTTs since then. We've won 3 RTTs. We've placed in 4th, but that wasn't Pariah Nexus. That was ACO. But we have a video that's going to go over what I think about the secondaries, the changes that are, from 9th or the beginning of 10th to now, and then kind of go over some tidbits and tips on how to basically run these types of secondaries, because it is almost like playing a new game. If you guys have noticed, Pariah Nexus definitely changed a lot of people's lists when it comes to actions and action monkeys, and people having lists that can just focus on actions, because most of these secondaries involve doing an action, which means you have to give up the shooting. Knights had a big issue with this, so Knights got a huge buff where they get to do actions and then still shoot. And then there's a lot of battle line abilities that if you guys are bringing a lot of battle line, you get special perks to doing these actions like advance and shoot, do an action shoot, advance and action, which went away in 10.5, and then there's somewhere you can fall back or be in combat if your battle line is still doing action. So we're going to go over some kind of ideas of the list that you're going to be building for this 10.5 edition, and mainly we're just going to go through each one of these 18 secondaries and kind of go over what I think about them, how easy or hard they are that they're going to be to compete. Or complete, sorry, and then we're going to go over kind of just questions at the bottom for any comments you guys want to leave below. So if you guys are new to the channel, appreciate you click on the video. We are so close to 10,000 subscribers. We are a mainly competitive, helpful 40k battle tactic channel. With all my Patreons, wouldn't be doing this without you guys. If you guys are interested in getting the competitive scene, that's kind of what we're here for. You can head over to Patreon and support us and get some coaching in your corner. Any questions, list ideas, tactics, that's kind of what we're here for. If you guys want to do Grandmaster status, you guys get to have a one-on-one call with one of me or a coach that plays your army to go over RTTs or GTs that you have coming up and kind of just prepare for it. No dumb questions in 40k, especially with the wording for Games Workshop. And then we have LSO this weekend. So by the time you guys see this video, all these videos get posted up on Patreon first. We'll be at LSO. Then we have Nova coming up in August, and then LVO at the end of January. That'll end the season. We're trying to go for #1 Chaos Space Marine player in the world. We were #2 last year, and then we were #1 Grey Knight player in the world a year before. So the merch, we actually updated the merch tab. We just got poker chips for the Grandmaster Dirtbags, or not Grand, for the Dirtbag Nation. We have the Chaos side and the Grey Knight side, so you can use either side. And it says Dirtbag Nation. They're great for sticky objectives, placing objectives like Ritual, and just good for marking down what unit has what. We're selling them in packs of 5, so they're brand new. They look amazing, so glad we did that. Then we have the Cypher new model, and then we have the Tech Marine, which are really hard to find. Khaled Assassin, super popular, and then the Kodias +2 Space Marine models as well. All the ones are exactly what they look like, and then the widgets, they're legit. We use them every single game. The dice, they are $1 each. They're at 10% off if you buy any of the models. And then also the stickers are always up for sale as well. So if you guys have seen me at any of the GTs coming up, make sure you always come up and say hi, that you're a Dirtbag, and I'll give you some limited edition Dirtbag dice. So let's get into the video and let's start over with some secondaries. All right, so we could just start right at the top. It's alphabetical order. So aerial denial was a huge difference from last edition to this edition, and I'm going to say edition because it's 10 to 10.5, so it's kind of a tournament packet difference. So this one, the main difference is that before you had to be wholly within the center to get these points. Now it just says 1 or more units from your army, excluding battleshock, a lot of these are non-battleshock units, are within 3 inches of the center of the battlefield, and then no enemy units within 3 inches of the center of the battlefield. That'll get you 2 points. Then the next one is if you are within 3 inches of the center of the battlefield and there are no enemy units within 6 inches of the battlefield. So basically nobody within 6 inches. Now it's within, not wholly within. Before, you had to be wholly within and then they had to be wholly within. So it was kind of like really hard to get or really hard to defend against because your unit defending it had to be wholly within that, and you didn't know because they drew the card, and then you would know it right then and there if you had it or not. Sometimes with this, when it's wholly within, you basically are just running a vehicle or something just to kind of tow within 3 inches of the center. Now it's basically really easy to get in this edition. It's a 5-point easy secondary, and then if nobody's within 3 inches, you'll get 2. If nobody's within 6, just one model has to be within 6, you'll get that 5. So area denial was a really big change with this edition, and it's a lot easier to get and to defend against. So that was the first one. Second one, behind enemy lines. So this one is still a fixed, and then this says this is another big change. So if it's in the first battle round, you can draw a new secondary mission card and shuffle this card back into the mission deck. So this is in a couple of them where if you get this turn 1, you have the option, if you don't think you can do it at all, you can basically take it back and draw another one. So like if you are going first, it's really hard to get behind enemy lines, especially if you don't have any like turn 1 deep strikes, or you're not quick, you don't have infiltrate or anything like that, then you're going to basically shovel this one back in the deck. So that's cool that they added this. They really want the points to kind of be even and a lot easier to get. Plus being able to spend a CP to not just get rid of the secondary altogether. That used to be once per game, now it's once every turn. So if you have a lot of CP generation, you're able to basically siphon through your secondary a lot quicker. Because when we go 1 turn without a secondary, you could lose the game now based off that 1, 2, or 3 point turn, which is crazy. So 1 unit from your army wholly within your opponent's deployment zone, you get 3 points, and then the next one is 4 points if you have 2 wholly within. Now it has to be wholly within, so this is still really good for Grey Knights. We did a Grey Knight fixed mission with this, because even on turn 1 you can basically first to the fray, come down, get behind enemy lines, and then do a deploy teleport homer, or in this one it's the Nexus one, establish locus, so you could still do that and get 7 points turn 1. So anything that's a 3-4 is really good for fixed. So that's the second one. Bring it down changed a lot. So now all vehicles under 15 wounds is only 2 points. So there's a lot of vehicles under 15 wounds. Only the big ones, like the big knights or the big Tyranid monsters, are going to be over 15 wounds. So most of the time they're like 10, 11, 12, even Dread Knights are 13. So before they were always getting 4 points for killing them. Now they're only going to get 2. So this helps out in Tau as well, because it says monster vehicle unit is destroyed. So they have to kill the entire unit to get 2 points. So that's a huge difference when it comes to Tau. And then total wounds equal over 15, then you get an extra 2. So if the unit for Tau is 4, 12, 16, then they'll get 4 points for killing them. I think the Christ suit's 8, 16, and then 8, 16, 22. So then they'll get 6. So they have to kill all 3 to get 6 points. And then captures 20 at the starting strength and 6 VP. And there's no max on this either, so you could actually kill an entire knight army if you really want to. It's going to be a lot to do, but there's no max on this one as well. So next we have cleanse. So cleanse stayed the same, except you can't do it on 2 objective markers. So that was one of the main rules, is when you do cleanse before, you used to be able to basically put 1 unit on 2 different objectives and cleanse to do two different actions. Now it's 1 unit doing an action on 1 objective, and then another unit has to do an action on another objective. So that's going to be a big change when it comes to fixed secondaries. You basically have to have 2 separate units to do cleanse. 1 unit from your army, 1 or more units from your army within range and objective marker that is not within your opponent's deployment zone, end of your turn, performing this action is still within range of the same objective marker that you control the objective marker. Objective marker is then cleansed by your army. So it's an action per unit per objective. You get 2 points if you do 1, and then 4 if you do 2. This is a fixed still. So if you do have a ton of units, like our Chaos Cult, for example, you can do cleanse as a fixed mission. Containment. This is a new one. So wholly within 9 inches of... so this one's an easy new one where it used to be in the corners. So we used to have to deploy and keep our guys in the corner most of the game when it came to that one mission that we're talking about. It was in the diagonal or in the corners. You have to be wholly within 9 inches of a corner to get 9 points. Now it's just any part of a table edge outside of your deployment zone, and it's an action. So one or more units from your army is wholly within 9 inches of one or more battlefield edges, and not within your deployment zone. Select a different one of those battlefield edges. So you basically can do the top one, the side one. You just have to be outside your deployment zone. So most of the time, you're going to start most of your units on the line or near the line. So that way, all they have to do is step 1 inch, or basically just over the line, like wholly within the center of the deployment zone, within 9 inches, or wholly within 9 inches of a board edge, which is pretty easy. And then they'll be able to do an action. Now this just happens instantly. So this is a pretty easy get 6 turn. You're going to want to set up turn 1 for this, because if you have all of your guys in the back of the deployment zone, you're not going to be able to do this turn 1 to get out of your deployment zone to do 2 actions. So this is good getting later in the game, especially if you have deep strikes or you're running all over the place. This one's really easy to get turn 2, 3, 4, or 5, as long as you have 2 people at the end of the game. Now, vehicles are really good for this one, especially rhinos, because they're speed 12, so they can basically move up 12, get within 9 inches of a board edge, and then just do an action. So this one is a good, easy one for 6 points. Call the Horde. This one changed even since it came out. So they used to, a lot of people were talking about reducing the amount of guys starting in your unit, but they fact it where if you have 20 that you basically started with or paid for, it counts as 20, so you can't bring 19 guys. This one kind of scared me, especially with Call the Horde and Chaos Cult, because with the Chaos Cult I was running like 2 20-man units of cultists, and they're a lot easier to kill, and there's no cap to this. So if you're running a bunch of units like ACDC and they kill 2 ACDC units in a turn, they're going to get 10 points. If they kill all of your ACDC units in a turn, they're going to get 15. If they kill a 20-man cultist unit that you had like 3 guys left, they kill those 3 guys, that's 5 points. And then let's say they whittle down your other ACDC. This happened to me the other day, that's why I know. So this other guy killed a whittled down ACDC unit on turn 5. He got Called the Horde. Killed a 3-man ACDC unit, killed him, and then killed the other one, which had about 7 guys left. So he killed 2 whittled down ACDC units and got 10 points for that. I was like, wow, that is a huge change. So getting Call the Horde, if you have Call the Horde at the end of the game, or if you have an army that has a lot of Call the Horde, like orcs and stuff like that, it's going to be detriment if the opponent draws this at the end of the game. So watch out for that. If you guys are, you have 2 or 3 guys left, just run away. And if they didn't draw this yet, just get the hell out of Dodge and try not to give up, because that's 5 points. It's almost like having a character running around for Assassinate, and it's just solo. Like you're running them behind cover, just running the hell away from your opponent, so that way they don't get an easy Assassinate. Same thing with the Call of Horde. If you have 1 guy left, you're literally running into a rhino, and then the rhino's running 16 inches away. So it's over 20 models starting, or over 25 wounds. So make sure that when you're doing your battle lists, you guys are counting the wounds in your army. So great example is the Nurglings. So you can actually run a unit of 6 Nurglings for about 35 points each. So 70 points for 6 Nurglings, and 6 times 4 is 24. So they don't have 25. So if you run 6 Nurglings, it doesn't count towards Call the Horde, which is really good. So I know Keevil's bringing 6 Nurglings to LSO. I think they're a huge speed bump. I think they're really good for their points. So that big unit but annoying unit doesn't give up 5 points. So little stuff like that is going to be good when you're building your army list. So, and this is a fixed secondary as well. If you take this against an army that has a ton of these, or at least 4 of them that you're going to kill, that's going to be something that you might want to take for a fixed. Engage in all fronts, another fixed one. Nothing really changed here. It's 2 points. I think it might have been 3 before. So it might have been 3-5. Now it's 2-4. So 1 or more units from your army that is not battle shocked are wholly within 3. This is a little bit different. Now it's not within 3 of a table edge or a different quarter, which was kind of hard to do last time. Now you just have to be farther away from the center of the battlefield. So as long as you're more than 6 inches away from the center of the battlefield and in a deployment zone or in a different zone of the 4 zones, you get this. So it's kind of easier to score because you don't have to be 3 inches away from another table quarter. You can basically just walk across the line as long as you're not within 6 inches of the center. So this is a little bit easier to get, but it's really hard to do for a fixed unless you know 100% you can get in every single quarter at every single time of the game. Because if you're within 3, you're only getting 2 points. So it's going to be kind of hard to get unless you're built specifically around it. So this one's not my favorite for the fixed. Established Locus. So this is the one that used to be really, really good for fixed. They changed it. Now it's only 2 for the center. So you just have to be within 6 inches, just like before. You get 2 points. You do an action, you get 2 points. Or you be in your opponent's within, not wholly within your opponent's deployment zone to get 4 points. So this is a change. It kind of deters me from taking fixed because it used to be just this and cleanse, and I can deal with the cleanse having to do 2 units, but now that this is only 2 points on turn 1, you're only going to max out basically 6 points instead of 7 points, which again, that could be huge. And then they might block out their deployment zone or whatever it may be, so it's going to be a lot harder to get a max on this one, especially, but again, it's still within, so you just have to toe the deployment zone to get the 4 points. So Seekers move up, Scout move 14, just toe it, and then boom, you get the 4 points if you want them to do Establish Locus turn 1. Yeah, so that one basically is the same except for that 1 point difference. Then Extend Battle Lines. This one, you control 1 or more objective markers in your deployment zone, so this one is stayed exactly the same. It's one of the easiest ones to get. If you control 1 unit from your battlefield, controls 1 objective marker in no man's land. So basically, if you control your home field objective and 1 no man's land, easy 5 points. This one is great if you get a turn 1, or really any time in the game. This one is literally the easiest one to get, usually. Mark for Death. This is a cool one. This is a good idea. I like this one because it's good for the defender and attacker. Like, it makes you think and makes you try and figure out where you're going to be at for this turn. So if you get this turn 1, yeah, so you can get this turn 1. You can't discard it. You can only discard it if they have fewer than 2 units on the table. So if somebody has 2 units on the table, they can only pick those 2 units. And sometimes that's not good because they're usually the 2 tankiest units that survived the battle. So it's really hard to kill them. This happened to me at the Necron list that I played. He had a Void Dragon, and then the one character that was like a 4 up, Feel No Pain, 9 wounds, whatever. So I couldn't kill those 2 guys. So I lost 5 points on this secondary. So you pick 3 of your units, and then your opponent has to kill 1 of those 3 units. And it's good if they only have 3 left, or they have a lot of easy units to chew through, or they have a 10-man Termi break that's down to 2 or 3 guys, which has happened before. And they picked it, let's say the last turn, and then you killed a bunch of them, but there's only 1 or 2 left. You can keep this one for next turn, and then just try and finish off that 2-man Termi unit. To get the 5 points. So anytime you see 5 point, definitely good if you are trying to keep it and know that you're going to be able to kill it. If it's a 10-man unit and they're still 10-man unit after shooting at them, you're probably going to want to ditch it. No prisoners, basically stay exactly the same. You just got to kill stuff up to 5 points. This one, same thing. You have to kill stuff up to 5 points. So if you kill 2 units on objectives, you get 3 points each, up to 5 points. Recover assets. This one's this used to be fixed. They got rid of it. I was really excited to test this one out for fixed with our Chaos Cult, because we just have so many models just moving up, and there's basically 11 battle line units that we could have done this with, but you do have to survive. So that's the hard part about this one. You choose 2 or more units. You could put 1 in your deployment zone, 1 no man's land. I believe it's wholly within no man's land and not battle shocked. You then do an action. You then have to survive until the next turn to complete that action, and if you do, you get 3 points. Now if you do it in 3 deployment zones, you do it in your opponent's deployment zone, 1 in no man's land, and 1 in your deployment zone, which again is pretty freaking hard, you get 6 points. So it makes your opponent have to basically go after units that they might not wanted to go after that turn, and you could do multiple units. So here's a little tip about this one. It says 2 or more units from your army If each of those units are wholly within a different one of the following areas, your deployment zone, no man's land, your opponent's deployment zone. So each of your opponent's next. All right, now you can do this with basically more than one unit. 2 or more units from your army. If each of those units are wholly within a different one of the following areas. So my interpretation is you could do this with multiple units. So let's say you have 2 units in your deployment zone that really aren't doing anything this turn. You have 2 units in your no man's land that really aren't doing anything this turn. You could basically do 4 actions, and now your opponent has to kill 2 units instead of 1 unit in no man's land or in your deployment zone to stop this action. It's going to be a little bit harder for your opponent to defend against if you're choosing multiple units to do this action for. So it's going to be an easy 3 points, a hard 6 points, and sometimes it's just one you don't want to do because you have to be in a specific area, you have to do an action, and you have to survive. So this one is probably one of the hardest ones to do and pull from because you're only getting 3 if you have 2 units survive to the next turn doing an action. So this one is hard and tricky, but it could be done. And is that if this, yeah, so if there are fewer than 2 units in your army on the battlefield, you can great. So if you have less than 2 units, you can discard this one. Cool. Sabotage. So this one is also another one that there's a good tactic for. So 1 unit from your army that is within a terrain feature, it just says within. It doesn't have to say wholly within or whatever. Within, that is not within your deployment zone. So your unit, I believe, just doesn't have to be in your deployment zone. So 1 unit from your army that is within a terrain feature and not within your deployment zone. So the terrain feature could be in both, but your unit is not within your deployment zone. So basically, let's say you move up and you just tow one of the center ruins. Your whole unit's outside of your deployment zone. You just tow center ruin, 1 guy from your unit. The key word here is end of your opponent's next turn or end of the battle, whichever comes first, if your unit is on the battlefield. It doesn't say anything about being in the terrain feature, being wherever. Like, it just says they have to be on the battlefield. So if you put 1 model just towing in there and then they shoot you, they kill, let's say, 2 or 3 guys, and you take off the guys that they could see, your guys are still alive, you then successfully completed that action. Your unit committed a sabotage, that's 3 points, and then your unit committed sabotage this turn and is within your opponent's deployment zone. So you could do this with like a deep striking unit. That's going to be a really easy one. So like you come down, you just tow a ruin, let's say raptors, they come down in the opponent's deployment zone. They can come down within 3, just be in cover, really hard to try and get to. You just tow it. You do the action, and if they survive, you're going to get 6 points. This is going to be a really fun one to go after. It's really hard to kill if they know how to play it right. Because if a tank, if they're towing the ruin, you can basically just blow up the tank because they can't remove models like you can with a unit. So if you do that, it's easy to do. If you do it with a unit, then it's going to be tricky to try and kill that full unit, and it's going to be good for you to only tow 1 person in to get those points. And no hat. Okay. Secure no man's land. This is basically the same thing. You just have to secure 1 marker in no man's land for 2 points, or 2 of them for 5 points. Usually when you get this, it's pretty easy to get. You're either fighting over the 2 center objectives, or at least 1 if it's like end of the game and you don't have a lot of units left. So this one's also another easy one to get, and it's the same as the one before. And here's an example of one of the popular layouts. This is layout 1. They pretty cool what Games Workshop did. They actually put the measurements in for the terrain setup, so everybody knows exactly how to do it. So much easier. Thank you, Games Workshop, for waiting until 10.5 edition to do that. But they also put that this is all 1 piece, and this is or this is 2 piece. This is all 1 piece. So these eyes mean that this is all 1 piece, and then this is 2 separate pieces. So that was also cool that you don't have to differentiate, you don't have to ask the TO, it's basically right there. And then I love this terrain setup because you can use it on the corner ones, you can use it on the Dawn of War, you can really use it on almost everyone because there's a lot of line of sight blocking and places to kind of set up for launching points. So this little triangle right here, especially with the diagonal deployment, you can basically walk up or scout up or start your infiltrators right there every single time. And then you can also run up to the center right here. So when you talk about a lot of the secondaries, this right here is going to be really good for getting secondary scoring, whether it be engage in all fronts. You can be on that side, you can do sabotage, you can do aerial denial, you can do cleanse most of the time because the objective's right there. So there's just so much you can do with this terrain piece, or this one if you're on the other side, but this terrain piece right here is going to be huge for secondary scoring. What I was talking about with the sabotage, or one of the secondaries where you have to do an action in a objective or a terrain feature, you can basically just tow your model right there and keep all of them right behind here waiting to go. And then if they do happen to get line of sight on this one model, you can even put the model right there. So it's hard to get line of sight on it. But basically you put the model in there, they try and kill it. They probably don't kill your whole unit. And you take off that one guy that got shot, and then the rest of them are right behind there. And then you get points for sabotage. So for the ones that you have to be wholly within 9 inches, if you start your model right here in the corners, you can basically just move up here, get right there. You can go right outside your deployment zone right there. You can go basically right outside your deployment zone right there. So there's a lot of different ways to get the wholly within 9 inches of the deployment zone as well. So there's just a lot of different ways to do secondaries in 10.5 edition with the terrain setup like this. So when making your list with this new 10.5 edition, you have to be thinking about the secondaries. What secondaries are going to be really hard for you? What are going to be really easy for you? So even in 10th edition, 9th edition, making your list based off the secondaries is how you were winning the game most of the time. So a lot of leeway when it came to big tanks or tank heavy lists. They would just take fixed secondaries against you because it was almost a guaranteed 20 points for Bring It Down. Now, with the Bring It Down being a lot less, you'd have to kill basically 10 baby knights to max out Bring It Down. And if you lose 10 out of your, 13 baby knights, you're probably going to be losing the game anyway. Or it's going to be at the end of the game where they had to literally kill everything on the table to try and max out the Bring It Down. Assassinate, another good one. So this one didn't even have Assassinate. Assassinate's in there as well, so let's go over this real. All right, so we just looked it up, and what we had, it was missing 3 secondaries. So first one, Assassinate, stayed the same. You just have to kill a character. It was character unit, but now it's character model. So you have to kill a character, 5 points. Pretty simple, stays exactly the same. Storm hostile objective. Storm hostile objective is take over an objective that wasn't controlled by you that turn, at the start of the turn. So it's 4 points. And then if they didn't control any objectives, you get 4 points. So basically, if they don't have any objectives controlled, you can get 4 points. Or if you take over an objective, you get 4 points, which is both easy, stays exactly the same. And then lastly is the containment. I'm sorry, Storm hostile objective, Assassinate, and defend stronghold. So defend stronghold, one of the easiest explanations out there. It's 3 points, so if you know that you can get it 100%, keep it. If you don't, it's 3 points, you can ditch it. You have to be able to defend, like if they don't have any deep strikes coming in, or they don't have a way to come down within 3 inches, that's one way that you know is going to be 100% defended. Or it's basically later in the game and they have nobody left on the table. If it's early in the game, you can try and keep it, but 3 points is just an easy one to get, especially if you have like a 5 and then you get a 3, that's an 8-point turn for a secondary. So those are the 3 that we missed. I apologize, it wasn't on this shared sheet that I had here, but those are the ones that we really are the same ones as they were in the last edition. So there's 18 cards now, 18 different secondaries. You can spend a CP every single turn if you want to ditch one of the secondaries, so it's a lot easier to make sure that you're getting secondaries every single turn. And then if there's some of them that you really can't do, or if the opponent doesn't have, like Call the Horde to Bring It Down, you can basically just get rid of it for free. That's in the wording of the secondary. So a lot has changed in 10.5, but it's changed for the better. I think the secondaries are a lot easier and more fun to get, and you're going to see a lot more closer scores now because of the points getting reduced, like going from 5 to 4, 2 to or 3 to 2. So you're going to see a lot closer games, and it's not going to be just straight blowouts if people keep getting bad secondaries. Because before, if you got a bad secondary turn 1, you wanted to save that CP to reduce it or to get another one later in the game. But now you can just do a turn 1. You're like, all right, there's literally no way I'm going to get this. I want to spend a CP now on turn 1 while I have it to get another secondary trying to get it. So a bunch of different ways to get that, but I think it's good. I think 10.5 is definitely going to change it up. A lot of the actions are going to make it list dependent. So we were going back and we were talking about bring it down and call the horde. So when you're making your list now, I changed up my chaos cult list because of call the horde. So I took out my 220-man cultist blobs, made them 10-man, so I made 4 10-man cultists compared to 2 20-man, and then the Call of Horde for the ACDC, I can't change that. I'm still going to bring 3 ACDC, but they'd have to kill an entire unit to get 5 points, or kill all 3 of my units to get 15. So it's still going to be really hard to chew through and try and get down, but making your list, you don't want to make it super easy for them just to take Call the Horde, or if they do pick Call the Horde, they get 20 points in your turn just by killing a bunch of smaller units that were whittled down. So when you're making your list, think about these secondaries, think about being able to do these actions. There's a lot of the list that we're doing on Patreon and coaching that we look at it and there's no action monkeys to do actions and survive. If all you have are cultists to do your actions, some of the secondaries you have, they have to survive till the next turn to complete the action. So you still need somewhat of good units to do secondaries with, like Legionnaires or Death Guard, Plague Marines, or regular Grey Knight Terminators or strike squads, interceptor squads. Those are going to be the units to do the secondaries and survive to the next turn, rather than just a 10-man cultist brick trying to go out, do an action in the center to try and survive till next turn. So when you're making your list, make sure you're thinking about these secondaries, and that's really going to make you win more games when it comes into 10.5 edition. So hopefully me talking about these secondaries and bringing them up in Pariah Nexus, you're going to see him get talked about a lot in the battle reports going forward, but getting used to these, I know it's new. The first 3 or 4 games I played, I had no idea what the hell they were. I had to read them 4 or 5 times just to make sure I was doing the right secondaries. Once you repeat them and play them multiple times, you'll start memorizing them and knowing exactly what they are and what they're called. So I still don't know the missions on the top of my head, so I have to go back and kind of read what it is. But once I see like 9 inches, I know it has to be within, or wholly within 9 inches of a board edge compared to a corner to try and do that action. But again, just assume that you can't be battle shocked, assume that it's an action, and just prepare to memorize these, so that way when you're playing, you know which ones you didn't get yet, and trying to stay and set up for that. I'm not going to keep everybody in my deployment zone because I know I have to get in no man's land and in his deployment zone. So planning for that is going to be huge in the 10.5 Pariah Nexus. So again, hopefully this helped you out, guys. Let me know in the comments below what I missed, what you liked, what you didn't like. Head over to Discord. There's going to be a lot more tactical videos coming up. They're being posted on Patreon first. So if you guys want to support the channel, head over there. And if you guys are interested in the merch, it's over on Discord. If you guys appreciate it, good luck. Excited for 2024. 6 months left to go to try and get to number 1. We'll see you in another video soon. What's up, gents? 40k Dirtbags here. If you guys are thinking about joining the Patreon page, we're going to go over each tier and how it's going to benefit you and what you're looking for specifically to get out of 40k in 10th edition coming up. There's a lot of stuff to go over. There's a lot of tactical videos up on the channel, which is for free. There's going to be a bunch of perks that you get specifically for being a part of the Dirtbag Nation Patreon page. So first off, we have the first tier, which is $1 a month. You guys get first access to the videos over at patreon.com. You also get access to the Discord, which is specifically a private link in the Discord that only Patreon members can see. So you guys will have first access to that. Also a benefit is Patreons over the Dirtbag Nation get live streamed games on patreon.com streamed from YouTube, but there's only links specifically for the patreons.com. So not only do you get first access to these videos, you also get to see live stream games specifically only on patreon.com. The next tier is the Justicar. You guys get a shout out on every single video on YouTube. You also get to support us a little bit more. You get first dibs at voting on Discord, as well as you just kind of say, hey, I just want to be a Justicar Dirtbag and support you guys a little bit more than that $1 a month tier. But you get all the same access as well as the different color over on the Discord. So the third tier is the competitive Dirtbag. This tier, you get a lot more one-on-one coaching. This is a lot of the Dirtbags over on the Dirtbag Nation. They are able to send out messages one-on-one, go over list ideas, tactics, anything you guys want to talk about. When I was getting into 40k, or really any game in general, I always wanted to message the top players in the meta and just ask them questions. This $10 a month tier gets you that opportunity to message us one-on-one on Discord, so that way we can actually coach you, give you our insights, suggestions, and that's going to get you better at the 40k 10th edition as a whole. So that tier alone, just $10 a month to have one-on-one coaching, one-on-one messages anytime throughout the month, that's going to be a perfect tier for you guys. Even if you're brand new to the game, we go over 1,000 point list, 1,500 point list, 2,000 point brand new starting list, team list, anything you guys need. That's what the competitive Dirtbag tier is for. Also, you get a little bit red number name tag on Discord, so people know that you're really serious about getting into the competitive scene. The Grandmaster Dirtbags. This is the all-in-all $25 a month tier. You get one-on-one coaching, everything we said prior to this, but you guys get to see me, Mike, any of the other Dirtbags play your specific list that you want to see tested out live on one of our battle reports. You guys get to mention, suggest videos you guys want to see coming up on patreon.com. So you guys get the above first tier benefit of everything that we do over at Dirtbag Nation. All the support mainly comes from you guys supporting us over here at Dirtbag Nation. And Grandmasters, I can't thank you enough, but for $25 a month, you get one-on-one coaching and anything you want to see live on the tabletop. So you get to see a professional play right in front of you. You guys get to kind of like see it one-on-one, and I'm actually making this specifically for you. There's also TTS events that you guys can suggest. If you guys want to do a first 1 or 2 turn run through on TTS, we can actually log in and coach you one-on-one with that. If you guys see us at any GTs, you guys get special benefits, free dice, stuff like that. Anytime you purchase a merch thing on Discord, you guys get a free limited edition Dirtbag dice sent to you with every single purchase on top of that. So there's a lot of benefits coming up with the Grandmaster Dirtbag. You guys, I can't thank you enough for supporting us. Definitely let me know which tier would be best for you if you go over to patreon.com and specifically go to a tier. And make sure you don't forget to message me up on Discord. That's where we check every single day. If you guys are really into getting into 10th edition 40k, head over to Patreon, join the competitive Dirtbag or the Grandmaster. Message me as many times as you possibly want, and I'll coach you the best I possibly can on any specific army that you guys play. Mainly our armies right now, currently, going into 2024, is going to be Chaos Space Marines, Grey Knights, Death Guard, and then we have Custodes, Sisters, and I think that's it going into the wings of 2024. But again, any other army that you guys play, we have other coaches lined up for the Dirtbags that are ready to take on that role of the competitive Dirtbag page. So guys, really appreciate it. Thanks for clicking on the video. Thanks for joining the Dirtbag Nation if you guys are already part of us. And we'll see you in another video soon.